G'day folks, in this video I'm going to show you how to solve the Gigaminx, and this solve is brought to you by instant coffee. Lovely. Okay, now I'm not going to be doing the entire solve of this puzzle because there's no need to, and otherwise the video would also be very long. So what I'm going to be doing is solving the first centre for you and then showing you how to solve the last two centres, and then I'll do a couple of edge reduction pieces and skip to the last couple and go from there. So hopefully it won't be too long, but you'll know exactly how to solve it at the end. So the first thing you want to do, and this is actually probably the hardest in a sense, centre to solve because the pieces are everywhere. You want to choose a centre, and I would almost always choose white. So I'm going to choose that white centre. Oh, by the way, this is the MF8 Gigaminx, so it turns better apparently than the C4U. I had to lube this quite a lot, and it's okay, like it's not brilliant, and I don't know, I did put a fair bit of lube on, so I'm starting to wonder whether the lube maybe is not all that it's cracked up to be. However, it still does turn better than it did when I first got it. Now, to do the centre, what you want to be doing is firstly placing one of those pieces there, and then we're going to build it up from that point. So I'll just look, that's not a white centre by the way, a centre piece. There's a piece that I'm interested in, so I'm just going to turn that onto the white centre, and you can see now that's there. Now what I want to do is go and find lots of groups of two. So I'm going to go make another group of two, or find it. So as an example here, if I grab that bit there, and I can see the other one up there, I can just turn that around and create a group of two. Now, having done that, I want to build it up from this centerpiece. So I'm going to move that down like that, so it's joined onto it. In other words, I don't want it to be here with a gap there. Now that I've done that, I'll do another one, or find another one. So at this stage it's reasonably easy to at least find them because there's not really very much to disturb. So I've created another one there, and maybe I'll put it here, and this time I want to move it up, and I want to just figure out which is the way that I need to move it up. If I turn that like that, and then I turn this up, you can see that it joins to one end. That's what I want. I'll do that again. So here's another piece, and there's a white that can go with it. Now this time I'll move that down, and I'm going to disturb this. So there's a couple of things I could do. Remember to put it back, or I could just turn it before I begin so that it doesn't disturb it, and that's probably the smarter way to do things. Now I've got it down the bottom there, and I want to turn it, so it's going to be on the bottom two, not the top two. I want to turn it up. Now if I turn it up at the moment, it's going to create that situation, which I don't really want. So what I'll do is turn that around so that when I turn it up, it joins onto it. And that leaves me with just three pieces to go, and this is the part where I want to get all three together. So there'll be one more of the sort of center edgy bits. There it is, that one there, and I want to find the corresponding center cornery bits, and there's one. So I'm first just going to probably, I can move that down no problem, turn it round, and I'll join it on. I can just put that out of the way, join it on there, and then I've got to find the other bit, and that bit is there. Okay, where was the first bit? There it is. Okay, so if I turn that around, and again just set this up so that it's not going to disturb anything there, I can turn that white piece to make that triple. Now that triple being made, certainly for the first center, I can just now turn it on, and that's done. That's created the white center, and I guess reduced that white center region to a single center, and that's what I want to do. Now I will actually probably just show you the last part of the next center and then go to the last couple of centers. Okay, now I've got those two there ready to place up, so I'm doing the yellow center next, and because the white center's over here, I don't have to worry about knocking that out, so I can just move them up. And so I've then got to find the last of the yellow pieces. There's one of them that I need, and where are those other ones? Ah, they're both there, and if I can find that, there it is. Okay, so there's my two bits. So these are together, and what I want to do initially, I think, is get this yellow bit down closer to them. And I know the white and the yellows that I've done are already there. So I've now got that close. What I can first do is turn that up to join that, and then simply turn that outer face like that. And now when I join this up, it's going to bring that out. So I just need to join it, turn it off, and put that back, and that'll restore what I've done. And I can move the yellow triple around into position like that, and it doesn't affect the white face. Now what I tend to do is work my way around like this and get the lower half of the centers done. Once that's done, it means you're working on here, and you've got less of an area to move, but it's actually easier because you've got less pieces to look for. Like they're always closer because all these centers are done. So you would continue doing that until you ended up with, normally I would end up with the grey face and one other face. So let me cut through to that region now. And that leaves us with the final two faces of centers to go. Now they could be in any kind of orientation. What you're trying to do here is place as many pieces onto the pink and grey as possible. And in fact, you can pretty much do it the same way as we've been doing it. So I might say I'm going to look at the pink. I'm going to start with that one, and I've got two there, I've got two there. So next I want to get another two. I want to make another two, just using these two faces. So I can see that there's two sitting up there, and they need to go there at the top. I can bring them down to here. So in order to do that, I would actually also like to push this out at the same time. So what I'm going to do is turn that off, turn that up, and that is essentially an edge piece series, and it's just enabled me to get that out, and it's actually paired it up at the same time. Now, what would be ideal, of course, is if I had three there, but I don't, so I'm going to basically plow ahead, and I'm going to say, alright, well, how do I get that into there? Well, I just pretend that it is already a triple, and I'm going to turn it off there. I'm going to bring this position up, put that double on, and turn it back. And you can see now I'm at the point where I've got a single piece and I've got to attach it to there. Now, the way to do this when you get here is to have it so that basically what you want to do is turn it on the face so that it's not in this position. What would be logical, you would think, would be to have it in the corresponding position where it needs to go. But let's see what happens if I try and do this. If I turn that down to there and then turn that off, I have definitely created a triple here, which is useful, but I've also kind of mucked this up. And so that's clearly not what needs to happen. What you need to do is get this in the upper position there. And it will seem a little bit strange, why are we going to do that? But have a look what happens. We'll turn that down, then we'll turn this off, and then turn that up. And what happens is you can see that it's left a clear triple spot, and it's created a triple there. And that is completely and utterly ideal. And so now what we can do is do just a kind of edge piece series, and we can either turn that in and turn that around, or we can do what I have been doing, which is to move the position out, put that triple on, and turn that back. And that's a fairly painless and simple way of getting all of these centers done. And that leads us to the next stage, which is to make edge triples. Now this is, I guess, tedious, but it's a fairly simple way of doing it, and it's not really difficult, it's just a matter of getting pieces where they need them. So let's choose a piece to do. So we'll choose this green-red here. We need to find the other two corresponding green-red pieces, and we want to put one of them on this line so it can turn like that, and one of them on this line. So the first thing is locating them. There's one of them. So I'm going to, as long as I turn outer faces now, I'm fine. I've got to think, where's that going to go? Alright, well, at the moment, if I turn that outer face, I can see that the green-red would be up the top there, and that's what I need because the green is on the top of that edge piece. So I do want to turn that up, but I don't want to displace that. And so I carry out a simple edge piece series and just move it off and then put them back. And what that does is now put that in a position to line up there. That's what I'm aiming for. Then I need to find the other green-red piece and have it on this line somewhere. And I can see that it's there. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn it off of that face, and green-red is there, but it doesn't want to come down here. It actually wants to come to there. So we're going to turn it off again and bring it down, and just see how we can get that lined up. Here it is on this face here. I would like it to be in that position if I could. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Turn it up to that position. It's dislodged what I wanted, so I'll turn it off and undo those two turns. Now what you'll see is that the green-red edge is back where it should be, and I've got these two adjoining pieces in a position ready to turn onto it. And that's what I do. Turn both of them on to create a completed triple. Now clearly the centres have become dislodged. That's fine. They'll put back in a minute. What we want to do is basically now grab that triple and take it out onto another face. And very simple to do that, just an edge piece series. Move it up onto another face, replace it with a piece here that is not yet done. That's done. And now we can turn the centres back, and we'll see that we have a reduced edge there, the green-red edges, all the centres are back, and essentially that's what we're doing for the whole thing. There's a lot of edges to do, so I'll do one more now and then cut to the last few. So let's go ahead and choose the pink blue here. There's a pink blue there. Now at the moment I'll turn that up and I can see, in fact I'm going to keep turning. Okay, I'm going to turn that to there, so that's now actually in the correct position to turn down. So just some outer turns did the job there. Part of the problem here is locating the other pieces. There's a lot of pieces. You've probably seen it. And then when I find it, I get lost as to where it's supposed to be. Oh, it's right next to it. Okay. In fact, that was the correct one. That's the one I need now. So I want to put that over to this line somewhere. So I'm going to turn it all the way down here, bring it around, put it there and see where it lines up. Now clearly at the moment that's a blue on top and I need the pink on top. So what I'm going to do is turn it onto that position, which will kind of flip that piece and put the pink blue like that. So I'll just use outer turns to do that. Again, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but it really is just the edge piece series. And we now have that pink blue in position to turn up there, which we can do. We have this pink blue in position to turn down like that, and now we can take it off and replace it with that one. Like so. That's done. We can put our centres back and we'll just check. We've got the pink blue reduced and we should have that red green still reduced. That's all we do. We're going to keep doing that until we get down to the last few. Alright, well we're back down to the last four now, so I'm just looking around. There's one of them there, you can see. But this one here already has two together, so I'm going to find the other green-blue, which is that piece there. So I'll just need to turn that around like that. That's now lined up and ready to go. So before I do that, I've got to find another piece that's not done to use, and I can see one over here. So I'm going to just turn that up into the region, and I'm going to want it on this face, so just put it up there now in preparation. Now I can go ahead and make that one and then do what I was doing before, replace it like so and return, and that'll leave three pieces or three edge pieces not done. And we can see we've got the green yellow, the purple orange and the grey blue. So we just continue as we were. Now what we'll see is, and I'll just give you one example here. This is a great example of the green yellow where we've got a piece sort of wrongly positioned next to its edge centre. So to deal with that, what we want to do is find the other piece, the other green yellow, which can't be too hard to find. There it is. I'm going to bring that up. And I want to position it so that, let's have a look, so that it's actually going to push this out. So I want the green yellow to be there, in fact. So let's have a look and see if I can get that happening. Alright. Now, that green yellow sitting there is going to push that out and match correctly with this one. So I'm going to do that first, and what I'm going to do is actually take this out onto that face and return it flipped. And let's see what that does. So the way to do that is take it out with an edge piece series, like that, and then bring it back in, but instead of turning it straight down, I'm going to move its position up to there, and then turn it onto its position and turn that down. Now, having done that, what I can then do is return these centers, and you'll see that that matches up that yellow-green. So that was the one that was wrong. But having flipped those two, that now creates a correctly done edge pair, or edge triplet. And that will leave me with 2 to go. Now, when I get to this sort of situation, I want to do something similar. So what I'm going to do is grab that purple orange there, move this up, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take it out and put it back in flipped. So I've taken it out to put it back in flipped, move its position up and turn it on to its position, like that, and then return. And now what I've got, and this situation, it looks a bit strange, like it looks that that's good, but that's not. But this is exactly the point that you want to be at. And so we're now going to do precisely the same as we've been doing before. We're going to use this blue-grey to push the wrong blue-grey out here. Now, if you can follow what's going to happen, when we do that, we're going to flip this piece. So the blue-greys are going to be over here as grey-blues, and that grey-blue will come back and correctly position, but also this purple-orange will flip over to there and become orange-purple, so when we turn that back, that'll correctly place there. And this will always happen. So we've now got to take that out, put it in flipped. Now we return our centers. We've got that blue-grey done, we've got the orange-purple done, and in fact those are the last 2, and so all of our edges have now been reduced. Now the next stage is to place the pieces. We've now essentially reduced it to a Gigaminx. Now there are really 2 ways that you can solve it as a Gigaminx from here. One is to solve all the edges first and then solve all the corners. I used to do it like that. The way that I'm going to do it is my preferred way now, which is a block building method. Much more interesting method of doing it. So what I'm going to do initially is go and place the edges on the white face. So I'm just going to, as if I was doing all the edges first. So I might do that. As long as I just turn outer faces, it's all good. There's a white red, so I can put that up to there. Here's a white purple. White blue. And the white yellow. So all of those white edges are now placed. Now what I'm going to do is go and place the corners, or at least 4 of the corners that are on the white face there. So I've just got to find them. There's a white, blue, red, so I'm going to turn that into its position. Now, there's a couple of different techniques depending on where this white one lands. But essentially here, probably what I would do in this case is turn it up to the top, turn it round, and bring it back down so that white is on one of these downward facing places. And once it's like that, then you can just turn it down into position with an edge piece series. Now what that does is, as you're doing it, it pushes these edges out, but then brings them back and places that corner there. That's essentially what we're going to do. So we're going to find some other white. There's a white, green, red, and a blue, yellow. So let's get that blue, yellow down to there. There we go. Same sort of thing. Here we go. And I did see a white. There's the white. Well, there's a couple of whites up the top. So I might do that white, green, purple there. That then leaves me a white, purple, yellow, which I'll move around and do over here. Okay, now you can see that 4 of those corners are placed. I've deliberately left a 5th one there unplaced, and I'm going to use that now to place these lower equator edges. So I've got to find them. For example, there's a purple yellow. I'm going to move that, and I can just freely move these around at the moment. So I move that around to there. What I want to do is now place that down to there with an edge piece series, but when I do that, it's going to knock out that corner, and that's why I've left that 5th corner undone. So I can do this, and you'll see that when I turn things back to where they should be, place that edge and that corner remains. Next one, I might do this green red, turn that around like so. In fact, I'll do that last because that's the corner that is the last one I want to deal with. So in fact, yeah, I'll do the other ones first. So I'm looking for a green purple, a yellow blue, or a blue red. There's the green purple. So I can always take it up to the top and bring it down, turn in my useful corner, and this time I don't want to turn it straight down, I want to turn its position up, put it on and turn it back. You can see that's looking better. So what we had, the yellow blue that we needed to do, and there's a yellow blue on the top. So I've got that in position, bring that corner around, and the final one here is the blue red. Where's the blue red? It's in that position, so I'm just going to take that out first of all and use my 5th corner to put it in. So I've now got most of that top face done. We've got this last little slot here. So what I want to do now is place that red-green edge as normal. Now, we've got an interesting situation here, is that normally you wouldn't find the correct corner in that position. And what we're going to do is, we would normally find it up here somewhere. We want to place it into that position with the white on the top. But because it's here, the first thing I need to do is get it out. And so I can get it out of that position by carrying out 3 edge piece series. There's one of them. And there's the third. And you can see doing that leaves the edge intact, it moves that out. Now, to get that white corner up to the top there, what I want to do is turn it to the top layer, turn the top layer, and turn it round. And if that doesn't work, then I go again. Turn it, turn the top layer, and turn it back down. You can see now the white is at the top, and I can simply put it back down there with 3 edge piece series. Alright, and as we look around, that's looking pretty good now. All of that lower section is done. Well, the next part is to solve these 5 corners down here, and that's fairly straightforward. We just need to find the corners and basically turn them into their positions. So as an example, we've got a blue, red, pink. There's the blue, red, pink corner. Now I'll just turn it down, and if that's wrongly oriented, turn it up to the top, turn it round, and try it again. If that doesn't work, up to the top, turn it round, and try it again. And eventually guarantee that that will place correctly. The next one here, a red, green, yellow, if I can find it, there it is. So I'll just try turning that down. Didn't work. Turn it along the top. Do it again, didn't work. Now you can probably come up with your own scientifically proven method of which direction to turn it to make it twist the way you want, but to me it's just not worth thinking about. And we've got a green purple that we're looking for. Can't see that in an obvious place, so there it is. So in fact what I can do is turn that out and then turn that down like that, and that's placed very nicely. So the next one's the purple, yellow, orange. If I can find that, it's on the top layer. Didn't work. Here we go, that's in. That should leave us with one more, which is the yellow, blue, green. And here it is. Up to the top. Once more. Here we go. And that's in. So let's place those corners. Now the next stage is to place these 5 edges. Oh, sorry, there's actually 10 of them. These 10 edges around here, and it doesn't really matter. It makes sense to go in a logical order, but it's probably more efficient to do whatever's available. But I'm just going to start with, I'll start with this blue purple. And the blue purple, you can see that if I'm going to place it on the right here, what I want to do is have that piece on the right. Now, I'm going to turn it up, and you can see that corner there is already done. That's a corner that has been placed. But as I turn it up, you can also see that that corner, which goes here, has not been placed. That's one from the upper equator region. So what I'm going to do is turn the edge position up, and then use that corner to replace the corner I don't want to touch. Now, that whole region is not yet done, so I can turn that up, put it on, put it in, and then undo those setup moves. And what you can see there is that that corner is intact and that edge has now been placed. So remember, these corners here, we're not concerned about them at the moment. So I might then go and see the orange purple is sitting there. That's got to go onto the left. Now I should say it doesn't really matter what we do. We just want to put it not above it, so out of the way here. So now I can turn that up, and that's a good corner, so move that out of the way. And now this can come down in a normal edge piece series. And then we undo our setups, and that's in. That's all there is to it. I'm going to continue doing that and come back to the last couple. Well, back to the last 2 here. I've got those 2 to go. So the yellow red is going to go there. So I'll just put that in that position, and I want to bring its position up and turn that off. And now place that edge, and then undo those setup moves. That's done. That leaves me just with the pink red. Now the pink red's over here, but because I haven't done these corners, it's very simple just to take that edge out like that. And now that the pink red is up on the top face, I can store it there, turn its position up, and then place it. Undo my setups, and just have a look around. You can see that those corners are all still intact, and all the edges there are also done. And so the next thing that we want to do is basically do 4 of these 5 corners, and that's pretty simple. And so as an example of that, I'm looking to see what's on the top here. I can see that there's a red corner, so that needs to go there. Now that red happens to be directly above the bottom there, so that tells me it'll need 3 edge piece series to do that. There are of course other ways, but that's probably as easy as any to put that in. There we go, that's in position. What else have we got up here? We've got the purple, so I'll turn that around. This time the purple just needs 1 edge piece series to put it down there, which sometimes is easier said than done. There we go, that's in. Next is a yellow sitting here, so we can turn that around and put that down. And in case you missed the announcement at the start, yes, I have lubed this cube, or this puzzle, extensively. I think it may just be not the greatest puzzle in the world, not bad. Got a blue to go and a green to go. What have I got on the top? There's the green. Oh, I don't want to. Let's do the blue. That's got to go down just with one of them. And it makes me much happier, the prospect of doing one of these things than three at the moment. Okay, now 4 of those are in. The 5th one is not. We're going to use that as our little bad corner again to place all of these edges going around here, or in fact all except this one. So I don't care about that row. I'm going to use it to place the other ones. So I might turn around here and say blue orange. Do I have that up the top? No. What about orange green? No. What about green pink? Yes, I've got it there. So I say, where's that corner that I can use? And in fact it's that corner there, the green, pink, grey. I wanted to place this one. So that's over there. So the way to get that corner to here is to set it up by turning it once around there, twice, and once. And that's the furthest setup you'll have to do. Now that that's done, we can use that corner to place the pink green edge and then undo those setups. So 1, 2, 1. You can see that all is back where it should have been. That corner is the one we don't care about. And that pink green has been placed. Now that pink yellow is in position but flipped, so we might as well deal with that now. So we'll turn our corner around. Our setups. We're going to take that corner out first, and now we're going to put it back in. Okay, and now undo the setups, and you can see that's in nicely. So those 2 are in. We've got 2 to go. So we're looking for the orange green perhaps on top. That's not there yet. What about the orange blue? That's around there, so I can turn that around. Okay, grab my corner and use that. Undo setups. That one's done, and now I'm looking for the orange green. The orange green's trapped in here, so I'm just going to take it out. And that is the dodgy corner. So now I can put the orange green over to where it needs to be, move my dodgy corner around. So it's 1, 2, 1, and now go ahead and place the orange green edge, and then undo those setups. So that's 1, 2, 1. Alright, now if we look around we'll see everything except the top layer, and that is now done. This is a pretty good position to be. We're not far from the end. So what we want to do now is use the fact that this is not done to firstly place the grey edges and then deal with the corners. So I would see if any, I'd like to place those 3 edges initially to leave me with these 3 here. So the grey pink is already in. The grey green needs to go there, and the grey green's down here. So I can see that if I turn that around to that position and turn that up and undo that, that will keep the grey pink and place the grey green. The next one is the grey orange, which belongs there. This time I'll need to turn that position twice, turn it up, and undo those 2 moves. Now where that'll leave us at the end is a couple of situations. This is one of them where the last 2 edges are in position but flipped. You might have a 3 cycle, or they may be solved, who knows. But if you have them flipped like this, it's very simple. You take, you use that 3rd piece there, and you take this one out with an edge piece series, and then you just look at the 3 pieces and say what's got to go back in where. I can see that that's got to come up and not flip, that's got to go and not flip, this is the one that's got to flip. So if you like, you can think about it as whichever one's got to flip, that's the one that I turn its position up. So the blue yellow's got to flip when it comes down here, so I'll turn its position up, put it on, and turn back. And you can see that deals with all of the edges. So now we only have corners to go. And to do these corners, we're first going to just see what's done. So we've got that grey, green, orange in position. That's great. We're going to look down here and see that we've got a grey, blue, orange, which belongs there. So I'm going to turn the top face around to where it's above that. And I'm then going to place that, I'm going to turn it up and place it with a single edge piece series. Alright, that's placed. I'm going to turn that back. And you can see that it's mucked up stuff down here, but that's okay because it's going to come out at the end of it. So I've now got that in position and that in position. I then look and see that I've got a grey, yellow, pink, and that belongs in that position. So I then turn its position around and do the same thing. Place it with a single edge piece series. And I always turn it back just to make sure that everything's where it should be. Nothing else on the top face you can see has been changed. Next I've got grey, pink, green, and that belongs back there. So I'll turn that one around and place that. Now at this point you'll notice that those four greys are done. You're either going to have these two last corners kind of swapped with the edges out like this, or you might have them in position and flipped. Either way, until these edges are back, you just keep turning like we were doing. So I'll turn this up. I can see that I might as well try and place that grey one. So I'll turn that up like that. And you can see that once that's in, they are solved as well. Now the only issue you may have is that you might get all the edges back and you'll have two corners, the last two corners, flipped in position. Let's have a quick look at that now. Well, here's a common scenario, is that we've got everything done except the last two corners flipped in position. And the way to do that is to turn one of them so that the two corners are adjacent to each other. And then basically what we want to do is hold the puzzle, and we're going to involve these pieces here. We're just going to be carrying out edge piece series, but we're going to have a look and see which way down we need to turn it. Now if I turn it left down first to rotate this corner, what's going to happen is, because it goes that way, the corner is going to rotate that way. So the grey would actually go to the bottom, which is no good. If I turn the right side down first, the corner will rotate that way, which will place the grey. And since on this puzzle, if one corner needs to be rotated one direction, the other corner will definitely be needing to be rotated the other direction, that's not going to be a problem. So here's what we're going to do. We've worked out that we've got to rotate this corner in that direction, so we turn that face down first. So we're just going to go down, down, up, up, and to rotate that corner we need to do two of them. Let's stop there and have a look. You can see that that corner has been successfully rotated. Well, now we want to take the other corner and whack it in that position and undo the down, down, up, up. And to undo a down, down, up, up, when we started with the right, we now start with the left. We did it twice, so we've got to undo it twice. And then we undo this turn where we put it in. And then our last thing is just to undo that setup move, and you can see that that takes care of that problem. And in any event, that is the Gigaminx solved.